let's see how these boat rats, these roaches who get imported from other nations into the United States as cheap labor to replace the American worker. Let's see how they behave around tax-paying American citizens.
Another man right here. What are we selling? How much?
What's that?
Why? What's wrong with us videotaping? Yes, ma'am.
Keep running.
Yes, of course.
How would you feel if I take a camera and a video and go to North Carolina or South Carolina in those redneck cities?
Oh, okay. So apparently, any white person that's out in public taking video is a racist southerner. This bitch needs to go back to Darfur before it gets real dangerous for migrants in the United States, because we aren't going to be putting up with this much longer. Remember, she is here to take the place of an American wage earner. She will work for 30 to 40% less. No. She is the invader. The American ought to be enraged, ought to be indignant. This woman's neck should be swinging from that street light behind her. This indignant native African is the embodiment of American disenfranchisement. It is her dirty, bare feet that's on the neck of the American taxpayer.
In those redneck cities and show what you do there.
Go for it.
No, how would you feel?
I feel just fine. I'm not doing anything illegal,
ma'am.
Ma'am, how would you feel?
What I'm trying to tell you.
Every single one of your dollars that you make, 40% goes back to the government.
Listen,
the other people get it for completely free who aren't even from here.
8 billion people in this world.
Yep.
Whether you're white or black or Asian or Chinese.
Yep, she's right. There's 8 billion people in this world, and they all can't come to the United States, to Western European countries. How come most of the rest of those 8 billion people can't organize a functioning government on their own? How come most of the time any of those countries have had a functioning government? It's because they had to be beaten into it and colonized so that they could have a functioning country. With colonialism gone, we see the state that countries like hers are in, her origin country.
Chinese, whatever you can be, we have to respect one another.
Amen. I 100% agree.
And yet she feels like she can come here, be in America for 5 minutes, and now all of a sudden she is the de facto expert on who the fuck I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to behave as an American and how I should feel? No. The way I feel, I'd like to see split open on the street, because she has come here to take social services away from tax-paying Americans. She has come here to take jobs away from tax-paying Americans. If she's delivering DoorDash, that's an American citizen that's not delivering DoorDash. If she's Ubering, that's an American citizen that's not Ubering. If she's working as a janitor at that TD Bank behind her, that is a job that she has that an American doesn't have, because she's willing to work for 30 or 40% less, and in fact can be legally paid 30 to 40% less than an American. These migrants come here and they undercut American labor and leave American citizens without work and without assistance when they are under hardship. And to me, that is a moral crime worthy of death. She is a thief. You pay taxes. I pay taxes. Every single paycheck is taken away from me. It's taken away from you. Maybe more, maybe less, depending on what you make. But a significant portion is taken away from you, American worker, given to the federal government, to the state government, and those institutions turn around and mobilize an entire industry to bring these entitled, ungrateful, and undeserving people here to take away your opportunity, my opportunity. Her and her ilk and migration is the reason why I haven't seen a salary increase in 10 years, despite being in a STEM industry. This bitch is a leech. The clothes on her back and the food in her belly was paid for by the lifeblood of the American worker. Because when the American worker pays taxes, they have traded their time, their youth, things that they will never get back. And we do that in exchange for money so that we can continue to survive in this country. And like 40% of it gets taken from us every paycheck to feed and clothe and house this vile, disgusting pygmy. What do you do with a tick? You remove it from the host with pliers and then you burn it. So what will we do with the migrants, America? What will we do with the people who are not from here? They will leave. The only way that they should stay here is if they're laying in the ground.
What is America is about? It's not taking your video and looking for people that don't look like you and try to put them
This has
down.
nothing to do with
Ma'am, I
This
respect
is
your
what you
opinion.
did.
being
How
black
many
and me being
times
white.
you did this? You did this over and over and
We wanna
over
keep on
again.
doing it until
You
it's
go-
gone. Respectfully, we want to do this until it's gone. It's got nothing to do with race.
Until you go.
Why would I?
Listen, see, she says until you're gone. So she's here to be a whore and to pop out child after child after child to claim benefits for each child, stealing the lifeblood taken from the American worker in the form of taxes. Abolish Social Security. Abolish Medicaid. Abolish Medicare. Abolish income tax. And cut her. It's up to the American citizen to make life so inhospitable for these parasites that they go home. If she's from Darfur, then where she lives in the United States needs to become more dangerous than Darfur for her and her ilk.
Be gone. I'm a
Why would
taxpayer here.
anything else would be gone?
Because
Who
this
told
is-
you nobody else is paying tax here? Because you take your camera, you're walking around,
Yes, ma'am. I'll
and
answer
you
any question
think
you
that you are entitled to it.
You are. This is public property. You're entitled
No,
to film, and
so
just
is
like you can film me right
everybody
now.
else.
Of course, they are entitled to film me. If you want to film me right now, you can.
You're not listening to what I'm
I'm
trying
listening
to
and
say.
responding to what you're saying.
No,
I'm
you're
listening.
not.
I'm listening.
There you go.
Type it in for me. Yeah, I'm listening.
Now listen.
I'm listening, ma'am. What's your name?
What's your name?
It doesn't matter. My name.
My name's
don't
Nick.
So she doesn't want to give her name and she doesn't want to disclose whether or not she pays taxes. Look at, she's got the indignant black woman face. Now she deserves a slap in the face. She's got no reason to have that look on her face. What my mother used to tell me, right, when I was younger, right? Stop crying before I give you something to cry about. This lady, call her that, leech, migrant, scum. Look at this indignant look on her face. Your tax dollars go to her. You ever been stiffed by the government? You ever been asked as an American citizen for benefits when you really, really needed it? When you were on your last leg and told you're not eligible, you don't qualify? And then you hear about shit like this. People, migrants like this in New York during the Biden era, receiving Visa cards, just Visa gift cards with $500 to $5,000 on it. What if you lived in Wisconsin in that time and you paid taxes to the federal government? Then that federal government gives money to New York for their migrant programs, and your tax dollars in Wisconsin have now gotten siphoned off from you through the federal government into some migrant program for New York City in a completely different state. Your taxes have done nothing for you. So why the fuck should we be paying them for these ungrateful people?
Surely.
You came to my place.
This is your place?
So now I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
It's his place.
Her place. Her place should be up on that fucking street light. Better yet, between that billboard, that Mortal Kombat billboard. Hang her up there. I'm just expressing the sentiments that every American feels. Whether they're white, whether they're black, doesn't matter. You have some ungrateful migrant come here, been here 5 minutes already telling Americans, being told by migrants, get out of their place. But that migrant is standing in the middle of an American street, on an American block, selling counterfeit fucking Gucci, scamming the American citizen. I mean, are women even allowed to speak in the country that she's from? No, we need to fix that behavior real quick.
As well.
Your place
He pays
is-
taxes here. Do you pay taxes here?
Why the question? Why
Clearly
should I
not,
answer
with that
you?
smile on
He
her
asked
face.
me,
Who
I
are you?
answered
Do you pay
too.
taxes here?
I pay
What
taxes
give
here.
You, no.
Do you pay taxes here?
No. What give you the right to just walk to me
Ma'am.
and ask me if I pay taxes?
You came
Yeah, it's called freedom of speech, you dumb nigger.
to me.
Let
This
me
is
do.
what they want.
Let me do.
This is what they
Let
want.
me do.
Respectfully, we're just having a
Here we go. Oh, I'm just gonna side with the dark-skinned person, even if it's against my best interest. And if she's not from here either, well, you already know the deal. You already know how I feel about it. To dig a real deep hole that they can lay in.
a civil conversation. If
Would
you
I
disagree,
just-
that we're
would
happy
I-
to
I
disagree.
didn't disagree or anything.
Of
I
course.
just think that y'all are
Would I?
enticing.
Yeah, I
and
know.
it's like
Would I
Came
take
to
my
us.
camera?
I've heard it multiple times.
she-
so I
Would I
can't
take my
know.
camera and walk up to you and walk up to you?
Which she approached us. And we're
This is harassment. Some white folks walking around with a camera. Y'all made her walk up to you. You got her agitated. This is why, like, women in general, but especially black women, just should not have ever been given the right to vote or even to debate in politics at all. I mean, look at how it is at the very top right now. The head of the EU is some warmongering woman who has no idea of the reality of the violence that she advocates for. Let us continue. I don't think I'm going to be able to get through this whole video.
answering questions she might have.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you've been here million
Energy,
times.
baby. I wouldn't give them.
I will give them the energy because they.
Ma'am,
we
so for
have
every
Ma'am,
dollar
ma'am,
we
so
make,
what is
She'll give them the energy because she doesn't have a job that she needs to be at. She's getting paid from probably 3 or 4 different social services. Her place is paid for. She gets to walk around New York City, one of the most expensive places to live in the United States. She just gets to walk around happy-go-lucky and bitch at as many white people about how good that they have it. He has to actually get up and go to work or get up and make a YouTube video and hope that it gets enough views to generate enough ad revenue to feed his family. But, you know, she doesn't have any of those worries because, you know, Uncle Sam, i.e., the 2 white men standing in front of her, are paying her way to live in America. So she doesn't have anywhere to be. She doesn't have anything to do.
your name?
each other.
My name is Sweeney. It's very
My
nice to
name
meet
is
you.
Awa. It's nice to meet you.
We have
That ain't no Christian name. Send that demon ass bitch back. Send her back to Darfur or Congo or where the fuck she's from.
been here.
I'm
This is our
trying to
3rd time
tell
being
you-
here. Yes, I'm listening.
I'm trying to tell you
Yes.
that the rights you have and how you feel is so is everybody else. We didn't came to a word. We didn't get to a point where I am entitled to walk up to you.
Actually, in America, you can do that. Wherever the fuck she's from, her country might not have those laws. Like, you know, a lot of these African countries, actually, this is something that I've seen in a lot of these migrant videos. A lot of these migrants, whether they're in the United States or they have, or they're in, you know, the UK or whatever, but they came from some African country or some Middle Eastern country. Well, a lot of the countries that they originated from, that they emigrated from, have laws that do prohibit filming in public. So when they get to a formerly free Western country like the UK or the United States, they think that they can tell people to that they can't film in public and enforce it because they think that's the law, because they've never taken the time to even look into the laws of the country that they are moving to.
In America?
Well,
Do you?
Can I respond
Can you
to that?
leave in America? Do I need a permission
didn't
to
ask
leave? Do I have to answer you a question?
No, you don't need permission to leave, but when people like her ilk, when migrants start swinging from streetlights and disappearing in mass, maybe then she'll leave voluntarily.
Who are you?
Can I respond to
Why
that?
would I
For
answer
instance,
Do you
do
want
you
to
pay
have a
taxes here in
conversation or do you
America?
just want to talk?
Absolutely.
I will answer
I
you.
do. Why
And would
I
you have a problem with
answer
somebody
your
asking you to
question?
pay taxes?
Okay, I can
No.
respond to you.
I really wouldn't.
If you weren't doing anything illegal, you wouldn't be offended,
I wouldn't
right?
have no problem with it whatsoever.
The city council for two.
Yeah,
That's why they have a problem, because they're doing stuff illegal here.
exactly.
What do you think about all the counterfeit selling that takes place here?
This is ridiculous. I think it's insane. Garbage, pollution, just mass
And do
consumerism.
you live here?
I do. I'm from Queens.
And how do you feel like as far as like the safety of Canal, this area?
No, I think it's overly congested. I think there's a lot of like shady things going on, and I understand people want to get things for a cheaper price, but this has to be regulated somehow. It's not fair to pedestrians.
It's time for the American people to regulate it ourselves. Because believe me, our leaders are listening. They're listening. They know what we want. You know, we want gainful employment. We don't want to compete with an invisible migrant class that also somehow has been given the right to vote in a lot of the country, despite not being citizens. So not only are we competing with them on a political level, quickly being outnumbered voting-wise, but we also have to compete with them every day when we are looking for jobs. Doesn't matter. You can be in the STEM field and you're going to be competing with a bunch of H-1B Indians and Chinese who are not even selling, just giving private American corporate data to the Chinese Communist Party. African leeches who come here from that continent that are worse than the ghetto Negroes that we already have in this country and are given more in social services than any American citizen. And our leaders know, and they listen, and they do the exact fucking opposite because it's profitable by ensuring, late millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, etc., are priced out of homes, permanent renters in their own country, competing with non-citizens, illegal migrants, or legal migrants who are able to legally being paid, like 20 to 30%, sometimes 40% less than an American worker in the same role. And all of these businesses in the United States, shame on you for taking advantage of that. Every time you hire some motherfucker with broken English and sketchy paperwork, you're denying an American citizen a job that they really need at this time. So shame on you. And I hope that some of you swing from those streetlights alongside your good migrant colleagues, you fucking pieces of shit.
The lady then came back and tried to make this a race issue, when in reality this has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with what's right and what's wrong.
What's wrong with us being here?
Let's see how she tries to appropriate the Atlantic slave trade. Her family, and her specifically, was never affected by, because she's from Africa. She is not an African American. To do this is particularly infuriating.
Look like you.
It's
Do
not.
you know about the
because
First
of
Amendment?
race.
It's all-
Stop making it race. That's racially
It is
divisive.
race.
No, it's
It
not.
is.
If you show me a bunch of white folks
If
committing
you-
fraud
if
in the
your
street,
video-
I'll come right back.
If all
Unfortunately, I don't see them.
if all your videos you ever made that you took the video and a camera and walk around North Carolina where they make
Where?
that
What?
where
Where?
they
Show
make
me.
that fake wine and ask them if they've paid taxes.
That could be a
Show
Jack's
me
video.
one of those
That-
videos.
great. If you
Show
showed
me.
us where, that'll
you
be
will
his next
never
video.
because you feel like they are entitled to be in this country.
Okay, she's trying to talk about moonshiners in Appalachia. Number one, moonshiners in Appalachia are not crowding the streets with litter and filth and are actually making moonshine instead of going on social services like this fucking leech with her tongue out. Cut this bitch's tongue out like that scene from Old Boy.
Well, guess what? So is everybody else. We can be here
So is
anytime,
mine.
everywhere.
Let's go to
Shoot
another.
down.
This bitch from Darfur feels like America belongs to her. Those are fighting words. That is an act of war. She is stealing from the American taxpayer. The American taxpayer is taxed via the implication of violence from the government. Therefore, when she receives tax money from the government, she has violently robbed every American taxpayer that she passes by. She should have like 3,500 felonies and do 8 million years in prison. That should be her sentence. But instead, she should just have a permanent nap if she wants to stay here. Her family, and all of her ilk. Ship this dirtbag back to the mud hut and shithole that she came from, then round up all the people who brought her here and hang them. Those rich, slimy motherfuckers who now only make profit by cutting labor costs so low that a single job cannot take care of even one American, let alone any American that has a family they're responsible for. Yeah, I had to turn that shit off. Anybody who graduated in 2009 or afterward. It seems like no matter what you do, no matter how disciplined you try to be with your finances, no matter how many sacrifices you make, no matter how hard you work or well you perform at your job, you can barely break even. You can't build towards anything. And it's not like a mentality, it's a numbers thing. I can't just decide for gas to be cheaper. I can't just decide for food to be less expensive. I already only eat one single meal a day, and I cook it. It's not takeout. Don't try to fucking gaslight me that I don't spend my money wisely or what have you. I live in the same place I did 10 years ago. 10 years ago my rent was $650. Now it's $1,500 fucking dollars. And that stupid bitch is getting a free ride. She's getting a free ride, but I'm paying for it and you're paying for it. Now is that right? Is it right for someone to come into your home, take whatever they want of value, and leave without consequence? Or would that be robbery? Would that be a home invasion? Well, that's exactly what that woman was doing. She's come from Somalia or wherever the fuck she's from, Nigeria. She's landed on U.S. soil. The first thing that she does is apply for benefits that she did not pay into. And then she receives them. And she receives larger stipends or a larger benefit payout than the struggling American worker that may have just gotten laid off, all for the benefit of a few rich and influential people whose vote matters more than yours. And they're telling you that. Just because these migrants in the United States aren't committing outright violent crime as high as we see in the United Kingdom, they still are, mind you. They still very much are responsible for a very significant amount of violent crime, but it hasn't really reached the levels of like the UK or France or Norway or what have you. But what they are doing when they come here is violence, and it is violence against the American citizen, as I have already stated. They are surviving in this country, thriving in this country, off the backs of the American taxpayer. The majority of that revenue being produced by working class whites, mind you. That's violence. It's violence by policy. They come to this country and, as non-citizens, have the right to enact passive violence on the American citizen, especially the white American that they hate the most. The time is fast approaching where we need to nip that in the bud. You know, a lot of this immigration is predicated on an anti-colonial, which really means anti-white narrative. What a lot of black and non-white Americans do not understand is that when you cut through the fluff of all that anti-colonial, anti-white, any person in a third world country that wants to come to the United States should be able to come here bullshit, what they are really saying is that the United States should simply be a place where third worlders go for reparations for atrocities they did not suffer, struggles they did not endure. Maybe a long time ago, historically, you know, their ancestors may have had some poor interaction with a Western nation. But you know, I find that just extremely disgusting that anyone would want a free ride, sort of social payout for the sufferings that their ancestors endured, but they didn't. Like blacks trying to get reparations for lashings that their ancestors hundreds of years ago received. But the black American of today had never experienced anything like that. So why are you trying to take compensation away from your dead ancestors that toughed it out for you for 400 years of slavery? So instead of going out there and trying to take the opportunity of you not being a slave and being a free man and being able to vote just like a white man and being able to apply to the same jobs as whites, etc., etc. Instead, no, you want to be compensated for work you didn't do and abuses that you never experienced. That's fucking vile. And now the narrative and the implication, at least to these migrants, to these leeches and invaders, that is being perpetuated by our elected and corrupt officials, that the United States is simply an economic zone due to its imperial history, has some sort of obligation to provide reparations for everybody. And I'm not for that. I'm not for that in the slightest, and I'm willing to fight over it. For every migrant that lands in this country, 3 need to go missing. Because I'll be damned. 40% of my income gets taken away from me to go to taxes, and then another 40% to go to pay rent forever until eventually I become too old to work, and because the system decided to gatekeep affording a house or building a life from the majority of working America today, that means at the end, for a lot of us, is going to be without shelter, without help, alone, cold, outside, because we can no longer afford rent. See, that's the thing. You can't be a permanent renter. Eventually, you get too old to work. Well, I can tell you, the generations prior to mine, late millennial, done a very good job of ensuring that I'll never be able to have a home. My managers, bosses, whatever, refuse to give me even the smallest of raises to my salary. I've been frozen at the same salary for 10 years across multiple companies. Many companies have decided, at some point that it was more beneficial to their bottom line for me to no longer have a livelihood, leaving me to scramble frantically, filling out application after application after application for new employment. All the while, everything that I saved, I now have to spend just to supplement the income that I lost. And it seems like every time I've found new employment, new gainful employment in my field was at the same month that I would have ran out of savings, all of it. And I obtain new employment and have to try to build that back up again, while it's increasingly harder to even keep the job that you have. No matter how hard you work, your employer's always looking for a way to make it economical, if you will, good for their bottom line to lay you off, to destroy your livelihood. So does that not sound violent to you? Somebody with, a piece of paper or in a supervisory position who has control over your livelihood? See, sure, that's how it always has been, but that's not how it was always treated, right? Like, a person has a job, that person has the incentive to want to keep that job and to work a job so that they can afford to live and in the past build something, whether that's building capital towards a home or for a family. During the boomer and the Gen X era and all that in between, generally employers recognized that and, tried to offer gainful employment. But nowadays, employers, even the lowliest supervisor, looks at your job as a livelihood that they control, that they can hold over your head. And if you don't work that extra hour for free, then your livelihood is in jeopardy. They're gonna make sure they know that the job market's hard out there. They know if they get rid of you, you're not gonna find work for another 10 months, and that's probably gonna put you out on the street. And they know that, and they take advantage of it for petty shit, to get you to do little extra shit, to make you take the same wage for the 10th or 11th year in a row. Well, if you don't like the pay, why don't you go work somewhere else? That's what they always try to imply. But they know that everybody else is doing the same thing, suppressing wages, because there's so many fucking migrants here that work for at minimum 20% less. That's violence. That is violence. And so for that, I want to see these migrants burn. I want to see them hang. I want America to be so unsafe for a migrant that they don't just leave America, that they escape America. That's how dangerous I want it to be for them. That's how fed up I am with all this shit. And for the people that facilitated it, the people in those leadership positions, running those businesses, that bring these migrants here, that take advantage of them being here by hiring them instead of an American citizen. And they might not consciously think about it, but deep down, they know every time they hire some random person that isn't a United States citizen, they're effectively putting another American out on the street. That manager's looking at candidates for a job, hundreds of candidates for one job, and 98% of those applicants are American citizens, and that manager is going to go ahead and hire the non-US citizen. He's taking a livelihood away from an American that really needs it. So it should really be his fucking head sliced open and left out on the fucking street for his blood to drain in the gutter, or swinging from a street light, taking advantage of cheap labor. People who are used to living in mud huts and shitholes and willing to work for $2 or $3 an hour. Fucking foreigners who aren't even from here. That's robbery. And so it's only a matter of time before there is a culling Yeah, I have a lot more I could say on this topic, but I think that's enough for tonight. God bless America.